assignment 6, and we have the three texts. The first one is exercise 6.1. It's like to read the file and to create like own x and y to expand the class, and just following that. And in this one, first one, we want to plot things, so we import the classes from the PLT and the numerical Python library, and sets the two data array x and y, and open the files we target to read, and the xy field text, and open the read, and throwing all the lines, and all the lines already break to the a and x and y, and just slip that, and adding each line's components data into the target array, and closes the files after reading, and rechecking that, and to add the arrays into the xy, and to define the labels, and the print out the graph, and using the plot, and define the x, y, and show the plot. The second one is just exercise more, and what that inputs the plot library, numerical and system, and the first one is define the loads, and this one is targeted for the reading the data, and this opens the data files and defines the target fields, target strings, and one is as like temperature, one is as like density, and sorry, and reading the file, and input the data into the temp and the density, and reading each line, and input the density file, and closing the data after reading. And the second function is the plot function, and we plot the x, y, and using the symbol O and cycle dots, and defines the colors, and defines the x and y axis labels, and the title for the graph, and defines how we want to set the range, and how we define that, and showing the plot. And in here, I also add like the try expectation, and to prevent like any issues with the density fields reading incorrectly and wrong, and that's running the data to through the load function, and plug the data using the plug function. We will get to the final like the target. And the third one is just like using the weather API and reading that. The first defines the library, and this one URL link defines the API link, and this one is my current zip code is 94087, and this user ID user weather Java, and the response, and try to create the try and strat to have the API have the link issues, and to define the 5 target arrays what we're looking for. So weather, temp, temperature, humidity, and sunrise. So those are 5 target, and reading the weather from the files, and each of them under different categories, reading the weather from weather description from the weather categories, and temperature, pressures, and humidity from the main categories, and the sunrise times from the system, and print out the zip code and all the things is same as SGON files. You can run directly running that. That's it for this assignment.